Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Ronnie Andrews of Oncocyte. But you know what? He is one of the men of the hour right now who is going to talk to us about a variety of different things that are surrounding COVID-19. Well, Ronnie, thank you again as always. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, Lisa, thank you for having me again, and Happy New Year to you. I'm ready for 2020 to be behind me in the rearview mirror personally. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And we are looking forward to 2021. And we're going to talk a little bit about what 2021, is going to bring us in the way of vaccines and how we're going to combat COVID-19. But first, can you just give me an overview of what you're seeing out there?
yeah, right now we have seen the surge, and I'm going to share some slides I think will help the audience. I think it really has been a crazy winter already, if you will, in terms of the virus itself. We saw a surge in cases, and I think you and I chatted last time, and I tried to make sure everybody understood that a case isn't always a hospitalization, and the way that we framed it in the media and the way everybody's been talking about it. Infection rate, and then you have cases, which are hospitalizations, and then you have ICU, and then you have death rate. And so if you look at all of those in combination, all of those, unfortunately, over November, December, have turned to a very bad place for all of us. In that we've seen an increase in not only the infection rate, but if you look at this slide in LA and Orange County, we've seen a very high increase in hospitalizations, in non-ICU hospitalizations, which means more people now are getting it and getting sicker and having to go to the hospital. And you can see these upticks in ICU beds, both in LA and in Orange County. And I think we can say with great sense of concern and sobriety that our ICUs today have very little capacity. I do think it's important for the community to know that not everybody that's in the ICU, you hear the news, oh my gosh, they're at capacity. But keep in mind, ICUs in most of our Orange County hospitals run somewhere in the 40 to 50% capacity range anyway, because you have strokes and heart attacks and just normal ailments or infirmities that cause people to have to be in ICU. And so when you throw in a pandemic and you throw in this surge, it gets pretty hairy for these frontline workers. So.
Right, and I have to say that I think a lot of us are scratching our head going, has nobody gotten the flu?
Yeah, and I actually have some data on that. I don't have it ready for you, but I have some data. It's interesting, and you might appreciate this as a biology experiment at some level, that viruses compete for hosts. And so coronavirus is competing with flu right now for host. And so because coronavirus, especially COVID-2, is such a strong actor, that the flu virus doesn't seem to be able to overcome it and compete for host. So right now, if you look at the flu-like symptoms versus COVID-like symptoms, and you look at the CDC data, it's crazy that already typically by now you would have seen an increase in flu-like symptoms in ERs, but we haven't seen that increase, but we are seeing the spike in COVID-2. So if there is a bright silver lining, it may be that this flu season might not be as bad as typical, because coronavirus is let's just call it the big man on the block right now. So
yeah. Oh gosh. Well, that's it. That is interesting. But then there's also people who are going to the hospital because of other things too.
Yeah, they are. And I think that's the thing that we have to remember. I mean, people are still getting sick. I mean, I'm in the oncology world now after 17 years in infectious disease, have moved over here for the last 20. And, our fear is, and it came true this fall, is in the summer when people were not getting treated for cancers because they were scared to go to the hospital, that we would see a rapid progression and an increase in the acuity of patients. And that's exactly what we saw. And we don't want to see that again. So we're obviously encouraging patients, you have to go and get treated for your cancer. Let's be honest, the chances of our age still dying of it, the statistics are what they are by the CDC, right? Our chances, you're my age, are about 0.15% chance of actually going to the hospital if we get it, way less that we might die from it if we're healthy at our age. And so these patients need to know, go and get your treatment. But so that's part of the complexity of now people are tired of, they've gotten, I think, somebody called it the other day, and I think they're right. They've gotten they're tired of Corona, and they want to get back to life. And part of getting back to life is getting seen for the things that they're already sick for. And so we are seeing that combined with the surge, and so it's a pretty overwhelming scene at most of the hospitals in Orange County right now.
Right, right. And then also people are going more to get tested because A, they want to spend time with their families,
Right.
B, they might be traveling, that kind of thing. So let's talk about the testing that's available.
Right.
Saliva testing has made its way to the Orange County Health Department. Let's talk about,
Finally,
yeah,
finally. I think when we talked I forgot, late summer, early fall, the nasal swab, not only is it a very painful procedure, it's like getting a little bit, almost like getting a brain biopsy by the time they really get up in there. And the reality is we do see a lot of false positives and some false negatives with the nasal swab. And as you and I have chatted, part is because that is a very sensitive test. PCR is very sensitive. And when you get up in there and you're swabbing, if you have viral particles in your nose, that doesn't necessarily mean you have viral particles at a high enough titer in your blood to cause disease, but it means you have them in your nose. And versus saliva, which theoretically, because it's a bodily fluid, you actually have viral titers that are coming through the saliva. And therefore, it's in my world of infectious disease from years ago in the HIV world, the saliva test and the blood test were the two most reliable tests because that's how we knew that there was active viral particles causing disease. So I'm excited about the saliva test. I've taken it a couple times, like you said. We had family coming over, and one of the members that was coming over was a physician and needed to be ready to go to the ER the next day. So we all got tested a few days before with the saliva test. So easy. They sent us the kits. We opened them. We gave our saliva sample, closed it, went in FedEx. 2 days later, I got a result back that we were negative. And so we were all able to get together and gather, which was really a nice thing for Christmas. So I'm very excited about the saliva test. I think